Hello.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, man.
How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Good. Oh, you still have sunlight there.
Yes, just a little bit. Just a little bit more.
I keep forgetting like how far in the past you are.
Yeah, I know. A whole hour.
Yeah,
I
it's a
mean, the
whole
world.
hour. Ugh. Is Trump still
What's the?
president? Oh my gosh.
Yes, an hour ago, Trump was still president.
Actually,
I
you should be
yeah,
asking me questions.
I
Actually, I think
know
that would make more
exactly.
sense.
No, I literally just set up my new booth because I was moving rooms and stuff, so I don't have any video feed into that booth, so that's
Oh,
why.
okay. Okay. I was
Yeah.
wondering. I was like, I remember him having a webcam. I didn't hallucinate that, did I? So did you move to a new apartment or did you just move to a different room?
Just moved to a different room. I
Oh,
had to
okay.
open up that room for other purposes.
Oh, okay. Like
Yeah.
sex dungeon, all that kind of
I
stuff.
was I was actually just about to make that joke, so thanks. Thanks for
I'll take the hit. I'll take the hit. It's
Yeah.
what people expect of me. Okay. I was actually, I sent out a couple messages to a whole bunch of other voice actors because I wanted to do more interviews. People really liked them. People liked the one that we did before, and so I was like, I'm gonna see if anyone wants to collab. And I got like 4 responses, and everyone wanted to do it on Monday. And so,
Oh, okay.
so I got confused, and so I apologize that I kind of like missed like 2 hours ago. So
No
that's what
worries.
that was. Some of them I did manage to move forwards, but yeah, I just wanted to touch base because I noticed that a lot had happened since we last talked. Apparently, you how many animes was it? How many?
I did an anime movie and then two video games and a couple of other stuff.
And
It's
one of them was like was it a Wario game?
yeah, WarioWare Gold. I was in that game.
What character do you play, and how did you get that?
I play. Sorry, my
You
throat.
sick?
No, I just had a session before this.
Oh, okay.
Character named Spitz. He's a cab driving cat, and he's kind of like a New York accent, and yeah. I booked it through my agent. I had no idea what it was for. They were like, "Hey, Eric, go to this location audition." I was like, "Okay." So I showed up and I was looking through the auditions. I was like, "Oh, this looks familiar." And then I figured out, oh, it's a Nintendo game. And
Okay.
then I booked it, I recorded it, and then game came out like a month ago now. Yeah, yeah, a little almost a month ago.
Right, which is why you can now talk about it.
Yes, this is now
Yes, because
why I can now talk about it.
Nintendo had you on lockdown for probably for a
Yes,
while.
yes,
Uh,
it was a lengthy NDA I had to sign. It was fun.
how long ago was it when you recorded?
March maybe, probably
Oh, okay,
March.
okay, not that bad.
Yeah, not
Not
that. Yeah, not that
yeah.
bad. They typically bring in the voice actors like right near the end of development, either right at the beginning or right at the end. It
Right, right,
depends on how their production goes.
right. Unless it's like an animated feature film, then it might take, and you're like a main character. It might be like 2 years. If they're
Yeah,
animating based off your performance. Um,
exactly right.
right, right. Okay, cool. And the anime that you did, what was that one?
It's a film called Fireworks. It premiered back in July, and I played a character in that, sort of this 15-year-old middle school kid. And yeah, that movie was a ton of fun because I think I was like, out of the kids, I was the oldest in the cast. Like they cast like actual middle school aged
Actual. Oh, okay.
kids for the roles. I was really surprised
It
they
wasn't just
typically
all
do that.
middle-aged women pretending to be
No,
children. Okay.
yeah, it was all actual kids, and they sounded like kids. I was like, oh, nice.
Very good. Okay, and you were the closest to being an actual adult in the
Yes,
group. Okay.
exactly.
And was that another one that came through your agent?
No, that one I booked through. I got to know the casting director involved. I think we actually met through Wario, where she worked on the game as well, and we met at the studio. And then I got an audition from this
Oh,
person, and
okay.
I booked the character. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I thought the anime was like before the Wario one.
No, it came out. The game came out after the movie, but recording wise, I recorded the movie
Okay.
after the game. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. Anything else? Why did you choose to change up your studio space?
Oh, just tried to condense it. I had to free up a room, so I was like, all right, what can I do in one room? And I ended up actually like doing something pretty cool. It
Okay.
sounds great. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I would hope you're gonna do a big walkthrough at some point if you haven't already, because
I mean,
I like seeing that kind of stuff.
it's literally right off screen, like right off camera over here.
He's like, "Oh, it's
Yeah.
an amazing," but I'm not gonna show you. It's literally right off
Yeah.
here. You'll
It's
never see
right
it.
here. You'll never know. You'll never know my
It's the
secret.
most beautiful looking thing that you'll never see in your life.
Exactly.
Well, good. Did you change mics, or did you literally just condense everything to a smaller
Just
space?
condensed everything to a smaller space. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Um, have you changed up your demos? I'm trying to find out how much has changed since last we talked. 'Cause I think it was a year ago.
Yeah. Wow. Actually, it might have been almost a year ago. Probably. Yeah. Almost a year ago. Not much. Still. I switch in. I switch out equipment here and there. Been using a mic called the Cam C3, which is really nice mic. It's a very small company. They make sort of like niche condenser microphones. This one's comparable to like a U87. Really beautiful mic.
Oh, okay, so kind of like those guys that make mics in their garage.
Kind of, yeah. They're a very, very small company.
Okay.
And then I got, what am I running? Like 3 preamps into an audio interface. Just, yeah, that's a compressor.
Wait, 3 preamps?
3 preamps. Yes. Well, one's a preamp. One is technically a sonic maximizer, which just colors the audio a little differently. The third one's a tube compressor, and then into the audio interface.
And what's your audio interface?
Right now it is the Focusrite Scarlett Solo, I think, or
okay.
the 2i2, one of those ones.
Okay, the 2i2. Okay.
Yeah, I really like it. It's very, very clean. I was using the Steinberg for a while, but then it just crapped out on me, and then I bought another one and it crapped out on me. So this one's been pretty great.
Have you ever thought of getting like an actual mixing board, an actual mixer?
I would only do that if I had like a multi-mic setup, which I don't. I just don't really have a use for it, because all the mixing I do is in software, so I don't really need any of the, I don't need to be taught like, throwing faders, because it's just me.
Right. And
you're
not recording like you've seen it sometimes when they'll have like 2 microphones, one further away, one closer up.
Yeah,
to get, like,
that's
the 2 sounds.
So what I've heard is the reason they do that is they'll have one mic recording slightly quieter, so if there's a yell and the engineer just doesn't catch it, they have that as backup audio. So okay, this is for
as opposed
yelling.
to having like heavy compression on it.
Exactly. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always thought that's what it was, or it was something like if they weren't sure if it's like a scene where the character is supposed to be sounding like it's further away, and then it will do like a close up, or switch in and out constantly, like he's up in a hill or something like that. I thought that would be what they were using it for as well. But I've never seen a studio that where they've actually done that. I've just seen like a few clips, and I've never asked anybody.
Yeah, I honestly haven't seen any. I've never been in a studio where I've seen them do that. It's usually just simpler to have it running through one mic. But yeah.
And I think compressors are also getting better. So. Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's weird too, because like they could be sometimes they'll be running it clean into Pro Tools, but then they'll have a compressor on Pro Tools, and then they'll have like a separate track. I was at dinner with an engineer friend of mine, and we were just going through, because he was working on one of the big cartoon shows where it's like multi-mic, like 10 actors in a room, and I'm just so what do you? So I'm like, so what do? Do you just throw faders? Do you mute? He's like, I just mute tracks, but then I have like one clean track, and then like everyone has their individual tracks, and then sometimes I'll pull from this. Like it gets very complicated, especially when it's like the big mixing boards where they're where they're running everything. But for the most part, like Pro Tools has just simplified everything to where you don't really need a mixing board to do all of that.
Right. What are your plans for upgrades as far as your setup? Unless you're like, no, this is what I'm working with until the day I die. There are some people who get their setup and they love it, and it gives them that sound, and they don't want to change it in fear of it just being worse.
Right. my philosophy on like home studio setups is I've kind of reached this point where it at a certain point it doesn't matter what you're buying unless you are like a studio like engineer, like you've gone to school for this, you have like the space to make a really kick-ass home studio.
Right.
It's not worth it to buy like $1,000 mic or interface or whatever, because for the most part you're either going to be auditioning mostly, so the audio is just going to be used for auditions, or technology is where it is to like an $80 mic, like an AT2020 is going to sound just comparable. Basically, unless you know what to listen for,
Right.
you're not going to be able to tell the difference between an $80 mic and an $1,800 mic.
Right.
And I see a lot of like online voice actors especially get caught up in like, oh, what do I need to upgrade? Is this mic better? Which mic is better? Honestly, if you're sticking to name brands and you've got a good recording space, you don't make it such a headache to buy or buy stuff for your home studio. If you've got something and you like it and your clients like it, then you're fine. But I have seen some guys who are like just upgraded to the U87 and the Apollo Twin. Also got a what is it, an Avalon 737. I'm like, all right, good for you.
I was just talking to the other guy, and we were talking about the U87. We're like, is it dead now? Is it?
No,
I feel like it's dead. Like I feel like people get it now just for like, oh look, it's the U87, but no one gets it because that sound, you know, it used to be because it was literally the best mic, and it gave you the cleanest, best sound. It could handle beating. Well, it depends on the year. Depends on the year.
It's not even that. It's more just like engineers settled on this. They're like, we like this, and then it's been that way. The mic came out in 1967, and it's not changed. Even like the new model, the 87 AI, it's the same thing. Like it's the same microphone, same components, same parts.
Right.
I think it has a slightly different frequency response. Just because
I don't hear that. I've listened to raw samples, and I have no idea what people are talking about.
And the only way a U87 is going to mean anything is if you're running it through like the highest quality, you know, compressors and preamps. Like at the end of the day, like it's a great mic because it just became the standard. But I think like plenty of mics have come out that have surpassed it. I mean Neumann has put out mics that I think sound better and work a little bit better, and they're a little cleaner, or they have less self noise.
Right.
And I'm seeing a lot of like the TLM line used in studios, like the 103, the 49, the tube model one. I can't remember all their names, but
I like the sound of the tube ones or the ribbon mics.
They really don't work for like character voiceover. Tube mics, that's more like the music guys swear by them just because they're like it has like a little shimmer.
Bing Crosby used this.
Yeah, well, Bing Crosby, that was the ribbon mics, but those are just a whole. You know, it's really preferential, but yeah, the U87 is just there's no need to buy one if you have a home studio. There's absolutely no need.
Yeah, I spend the money on coaching and good demos before anything like that. Speaking of demos, you do demo production, and I remember us covering this before. And how many people have you done demos for?
I can't count them all. Probably like 20, 30 plus. Probably. I've done quite a few. Yeah.
Wow. Very nice. So you've listened to a lot. Do they send you their self-produced demos first, and then you listen to them and you're like, nope, throw it out, let's do this all over again? Or do they come to you just like with nothing?
It depends. Sometimes they'll have previous demos and they're just looking like, hey, I want a better sounding one. Or sometimes they'll ask like, hey, what do you think of this demo I produced myself? And I'll let them know, and I'll also be like, hey, I also produce demos, or I can point you in the right direction to someone else if you're interested.
Right.
It depends on the person. It's sort of a mix of depending on how long they've been working as a voice actor, or, you know, where they are in their career.
Oh, okay. What was your first demo? Did you produce it yourself, or did you go to someone to produce it, or?
I have produced all of my demos up to my current ones, all of them myself.
Who did you go to for your current ones, and why? Did you
Myself. Oh, sorry. I guess I worded that wrong. All of my demos I've produced myself. I now
and then I
now
went to
have
someone even more amazing, which was also
yes,
me.
which is also me. I do have an engineer that I work with on the demos.
Is he
now.
the same friend as you were talking about before, or?
I can't remember. That was almost a year ago. But yeah, all my demos I produced myself from when I started in my dorm room closet to now.
Nice, very nice. Do you like your first demo? How would you describe it?
Oh, pretty bad. I mean, it was. I think there like no music or sound effects. It was just all raw audio, and I believe most of it was like auditions I had done and like samples of like, hey, this shows a different character. Yeah, it was pretty primitive, pretty, just bare bones.
I feel like that's common.
I mean,
I feel like it's very, very common.
Yeah, it's very common to find those, and I really don't, especially when you're just starting out, I don't discourage people from having those type of demos, because like, what you need something when you're starting out.
Right.
If you don't have credits, you need to at least be like, hey, here's what I can do. So yeah, those end up being pretty common, because a lot of actors or people trying to get into the online voice acting field, they don't really have any knowledge of mixing or sound editing or anything like that. So it's just a matter of recording something in Audacity and trimming it and then using that. But yeah, I've heard plenty of demos from self-produced to produced by, the top people in the business. And yeah, I've heard great, really, it's more the acting that I'm listening for, but I've heard great things and terrible things on all levels.
I think one of the reasons a lot of people's first demo is often so bad is because they've already spent the money on the U87. So, I mean, they don't have any more money.
Where are we going to go now? Yeah.
What am I going to do? I already blew it all on $8,000.
Well, it's dried up.
What am I going to do? But yeah, my first demo was exactly the same, which we're actually going to be playing in just a second, just to show people what not to do. Basically, I just want to do kind of a what not to do and why this is wrong.
Yes.
And if your demo sounds like this, I would suggest burn it. Tell no one about it, and then hopefully we can provide some resources or some stuff like that. But yeah, my demo was exactly the same. If I have it, I was actually scrolling for my my first demo, and I don't have the MP3, but I think it's still on YouTube, to which I believe I have hidden for valid reasons. So I'm gonna pull that up. Oh, I gotta go way back.
Going back to 1952, where my first demo was recorded on a potato phone. You have your iPhones, kids, but we had to do potato phones, where we'd stick a string in a potato and string it to another potato. It didn't work. It was infuriating. By the end of the day, the potato would be warm and we'd eat it.
Those were the days we had because of the famine.
The 1952 famine. You never heard of it? That's because everyone died.
Grandpa, I thought this was going to be a happy Christmas story.
He's around the fire.
Everyone gathered around the fire. We're wearing sweaters Grandma knitted. Why couldn't this have been fun? Why must it always be gloom with you, Grandpa?
Because life is gloom. Where am I?
I think I've shit myself again. Get over here.
Oy, the places we go. Oy.
All right, good to do. I'm getting close. I have to be getting close.
I have to be. Are you just scrolling through all your videos?
Not all of them. I went all the way to the back. Okay. No, that's not it. Where are you? I'm so close. I've been on YouTube for like 10 years. There we are. Oh my God. Okay. 2012.
Ooh, here we go.
2012. Here we go. Oh, first I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to pause it for a second. All right. Here we go. Nope.
So, welcome.
Oh God. Oh, I just heard a piece of it. Oh, ew. This is, okay.
we go.
So, welcome to the Timothy Banfield radio station. Yes, caller, you're on the air.
So like I was saying, man, so he had the knife, and so he done come at me, and see what had happened was...
Next caller.
Hello, and welcome to Masterpiece Theatre.
So like I was saying, I just kept bashing until he stopped moving.
Wow, that's crazy. See what happened though, and he go and the thing, and you see some NASCAR, and some barbecue, and them home cookies, but you know what I'm saying?
Well, holy, ain't that as cute as a little baby deer's nose?
It's like removing hairs.
Real close.
Oh, boy.
Oh, baby. Oh, just slipping on something uncomfortable, baby.
Oh dear.
Oh God.
If I see you on my lawn one more time.
Still going.
Sweetie, let me get you some more coffee or something.
This is a
Oh,
boy.
I haven't listened to this in
Timothy
6 years.
Banfield cannot come to the phone right now.
Oh boy. Look at that face.
Oh God.
Full of joy and hope.
Sunday,
And hope.
Monster Truck Rally.
Oh God.
Wow. There's a lot to unpack here.
Oh, Gary. Why, hello. Welcome to Burger
God.
King. What can I get for you?
Man, that's a lot of callers. That's crazy. This has been Timothy Banfield Radio.
Oh God.
Thank you for listening. Till next time.
No, next time. No, you can F right off with that next time-ness.
Oh dear.
Oh God.
Well, where to start? I was surprised. I was like, this will be. I'm sure it'll be cringy here and there, but you actually did something that like I can't stand in demos. And no matter how good the acting is, whenever I hear this in a demo, I always kind of like roll my eyes a little bit, and it's like when you make a demo like gimmicky, where it's like, oh, this is a radio show,
It's a
and these
theme.
are people
Yeah,
calling it. Yes, themed demos, or where it's like all the characters are in a room waiting to audition, and they're talking to each other. I can't stand that. Or like when characters are talking to each other, like,
Right.
oh, it's this
They're
one.
responding.
Yeah, the responding thing. But I've heard worse.
I have not heard worse. I'm gonna be honest. I've personally never heard worse. But that's just because it's me and I hate my own stuff.
I had a demo once that I did not hear this, but a friend of mine who's a casting director was telling me about it. It was 4 minutes of the guy setting up his mic. Like the audio was going. It's like he could hear him moving on his mic. I'm sorry. Yeah, exactly. And then like his mom walks in. It's like, Mom, wait, no, I'm recording.
I'm doing a recording. Gosh.
Exactly. And then he like does an introduction like, hi, my name is so and so, and this is my demo, and I've been voice acting since. And it's like, oh my gosh, just get to it. And then it was terrible. But
Right.
And then there are some bad ones. I've listened to way too many demos in my life. They never leave. When I see a voice actor in real life, I just hear their demo in my head.
Right. I think that right there, what we just witnessed, had literally every element of a bad demo.
I mean, yeah.
I think, number one, it was 2 minutes long. I think that was the first worst thing. The music was the same music throughout the entire thing. I did impressions, which you should never do impressions on a character demo. It had a theme to it. It was like, oh, everyone's gathered around this show.
Yeah.
And it wasn't distinct as a character, as an animation, as a game demo, nothing. It was just,
Right.
Here's all the voices I can vomit out my face. It's literally every single thing that I hate. Why did I agree to do this? This is really bad.
It's therapeutic. It's just
I feel better though. I feel like, good.
Look, we all start somewhere, and then some of us grow past it.
Later I will do a palate cleanser to listen to my latest one.
Well,
But that was
Oh, yeah, but I mean, there's a ton of things that go into a bad demo. I mean,
Right.
like, you know, for starters, if you can't act, then, well,
Then
all the bells and whistles aren't going to get you that far. Although I do know some engineers, and I've done this, where, like, the acting's not quite there, but we'll mix the audio in such a way to make it sound. Yes, we'll make it sound like they're really good. And there are demo producers I know who that's how they make the big bucks. That's all they do. Yeah.
Yeah, I've taken, like, when I've done stuff with other people, like I have to record it and edit it on my end for a client with another voice actor because the other person doesn't know how to edit or do any of that.
Right.
You know, I've Franken-stitched stuff together, like have them do a whole bunch of takes with as many styles and reads because they're not really going with.
See, what I did is I just completely rewrote the script to where there was one person I was working with where it just wasn't quite the energy it needed. Like, they couldn't get to the high energy reads, so I just wrote a bunch of, like, low energy reads, and it worked. And I was like,
See, I've edited the script before for, you know, like the type of verbiage that voice actor feels more comfortable with. You know, like changing up stuff, maybe moving, you know, the sentence around a little bit, still saying the exact same thing, just slightly different in a way that it feels more like their words, a little bit more comfortable. There's actually a guy that I've been working with who's dyslexic, and I'm also dyslexic, so I've been applying a lot of the same script reformatting dyslexic skills to that for him.
Oh, okay.
And we'll be in Google Docs, so I can edit it live in front of him, and he can read straight off that. And one of the things was if it's a sentence, it's a long sentence, and it breaks and it continues on to the next line or whatever, and then there's like another line or whatever, like you would often get like confused because you're starting off and then you got to go all the way over here. And if you're dyslexic, it takes you longer. So what I would often do is I would break them up, put a space between the sentences, and then change their font size so that they are in just one line, or change the font style so it's one that's a little bit more compressed. Just whatever it takes to actually, you know, for them to read. Because I know that's a problem that I have. Something that I've just had to, like, learn how to deal with. Because when you're someone who can't read and you read for a living, it's kind of hard.
Yeah, you've got to kind of work around it. Yeah.
Which I tell people, like, when I'm doing dry reads, I'm terrible at dry reads. So I'm like, I talk to my agent. I'm like, please, if there's a script, even if it's just an idea or just a loose something, I want to see that before I go in. Otherwise, I'm not getting anything because it's painful. Have you noticed anything like that? Similar? Is there any techniques that you use to break up scripts to understand them better?
I'm pretty, for me, I'm a pretty good reader. I can I'll typically, I mean, I'm pretty great. No, I tend to, I'll read the dialogue first and sort of internalize it before I go in. Sometimes I'll just sort of go, like, what's the term? It's a shooting term where you, like, shoot at the waist, firing from the waist. Firing from the hip. Sometimes I'll just fire from the hip and kind of just go through the sentence and be pleasantly surprised, but in my head, but when I'm acting, I'm just like, yeah, I've read this. But no, sometimes with different actors, you run into problems. Sometimes it's just a particular word that they can't quite get over, and it's a mental block, and I have to sort of work through that. It's always great when I'm directing someone in person because I can sort of observe what they're doing and have a direct communication with them and change things up and go, okay, maybe I'll bold this word so they don't skip over it or flub it. Maybe I'll italicize it, move things around. That sometimes happens. If it's a remote recording, I'll try and do as much as I can. But usually not for demos. For demos, I will, if I need to spend the extra time on a particular take, I will spend the extra time. Right. But if I'm directing for another project and it's just like, it's just going on and on, like on this one line.
It's someone else's time.
Right, it's someone else's time, and we have to get to the other lines. So at a certain point, you just kind of go like, great, all right, on to the next one.
Right. This
And
is
you
as
just
good as it's getting.
exactly, yeah. Which you have to sort of balance that with also trying to get the best performance out of the actor, because I know some directors who will just go. If it's like, all right, we got 2 takes, perfect, keep moving.
Right.
And then they turn out, products that aren't terrible, but
They could have been better.
Right, you could have spent a little bit more time on that.
Right.
But, yeah.
So do you get hired as a voice director often, voiceover director regularly, or?
Here and there, it depends. It's voice directing is like voice acting in the sense that like you could have like a week or a month or a year where you're just working a lot, and then the next you're not. But times 1,000 because it's even more niche. Like
Right.
a lot of times you don't need a director. The actor can just record it themselves, or someone from the team can direct them over Skype, and you don't need a specific voice director job, like to hire someone as specifically as a voice director. And then out here in LA, there's just so many established directors that getting into that takes years. It takes connections, not just knowing the people, but then proving yourself, being around long enough for them to be like, yeah, let's give them a show.
Paying your dues.
So exactly.
Everyone
right.
gets in line in LA.
Yeah, so I direct as much as I can. The most directing I do nowadays is for demos. I direct all of the demos I produce.
How do you if it's remotely, what do you normally use? Do you use Skype? Do you use Source Connect Now?
I like using program? Skype. Some people have started moving over to Discord, which is just not my thing. I'm not a Discord fan.
Does Discord have video and audio? I have no idea.
They have audio, and I think they have video. It's just like, it's not built for what I need to happen. Like Skype,
Right.
They have dedicated servers. They have tooled and tooled around and done patches and patches to make it so like the connection's not going to be a problem. Sometimes with Discord, if it's multiple people or just like the connection's kind of off, it just doesn't work. I've tried like Source Connect Now and some of the other like dedicated audio things, but I mean, I'm not recording on my end, so I don't need to do that. I just have them record on their end, and I trust that they know what they're doing, and I can sort of hear and listen to what's going on. I typically get a sample of like what their recording space is, so I can be like, yeah, this will work, or this isn't gonna work. Most recently, I've been lucky that I've been able to record a bunch of people in my home studio out here in LA, which is great. Because that's a lot easier, because I know I can engineer it. I know exactly what my setup sounds like and what to sort of tune everything to, so it's much less of a headache, and it's usually goes by much quicker.
Okay, cool. Do you invite people to your house to record demos?
Yes, that's into my home studio. So if we're recording a demo, it's there's the script writing process, we meet first. There's initial meeting.
I would hope you're not just letting like just random strangers on.
I used to just produce for anyone, and then it got to a point where I was like, this is going to reflect badly back on me if the person's not any good. So I'm going to start screening the people. So I'll meet with them first. We'll go over some sample scripts or listen to their old demos just so I can gauge like where they are, what their voice is, what I'm writing for. Then I'll go into the writing phase. I'll write a script, usually I like to write like 6 to 8 spots for a demo, about 10 seconds long, which is 10 seconds I found is about the right amount of time to where you get a complete like character and a story, like a beginning, middle, and end, but it's not too long. Sometimes I feel like there are demos that are way too short, like it's just a voice and I don't know, I can't tell. Great, you can do a voice, but can you carry a scene? I don't know. So after that, we go over the script. I have them come in, we record it, and then mixing, mastering, and all of that. That's sort of the quickie version of what the process is.
So what's the kind of stuff that you look for when you're screening someone, quote unquote? What's the kind of stuff that tells you, okay, this person is worth my effort and time, or you might hear and go like, I really, really don't feel like I can even help you.
I kind of like to know where their mind is in terms of where they want their career to go.
Like what their motivation is, kind of.
Not so much motivate. I want to know that they're motivated, right? I would hope that they are, because it's a tough business and you need to be a motivated person if this is what you want to do. But it's more so like, do they know what they're going to do with the demo? Like, do they want to send it off to an agent, a client, casting director? Who are they looking at? What's their marketing approach, or do they have one? Because that's something I like to get out of the way pretty quickly, because, you know, like, once the demo's done, you got to go do something with it. You can't just, you know, sometimes
look, I have this demo and it's mine.
Exactly. Like, I mean, it's like, are you just putting it up on YouTube or Casting Call Club or all the forums? Are you sending it to specific people? What's the game plan? You know, that if I hear an actor who comes in with a game plan and with a plan in mind, that's usually a good sign that they're pretty motivated.
Okay.
Obviously, I'd like them to be talented as well. You know, I want them to be ready.
Makes it easier on you.
It makes it easier on me as a director. I don't need to, like, sometimes directing can be like pulling teeth, to where it's just like, well, you just got to get in there, and it's going to take a while. But yeah, those are some of the things I like to look for. And then we sort of get into the nitty gritty of, like, what kind of demo are we producing? You know, every demo I produce is very, very different. I use, you know, the same sort of, like, approach and kind of, like, thought process, but it always ends up being a little different because people have different skill sets, or they want to market their demo in different places.
Is there actually a difference? And I've talked to a couple people about this, and I have my own opinion, but I'm going to ask you first. Is there a difference between a video game demo, an animation demo, and a cartoon demo?
Absolutely.
What are the differences?
I produced all three, and the difference is, I should say this. If you have a good demo producer, there's a big difference. If the person doesn't know what they're doing, no, they can just sound all the same. When I write an animation demo versus writing a video game demo, I'm writing with very, very different things in mind, right? For a video game demo, I'm thinking, okay, what's on the market right now? Uncharted 4, Tomb Raider, Spider-Man. These are the big AAA video games, Just Cause 4. These are the big games out right now. So I need to write spots with those kind of games in mind. Not write as if I'm writing for those games, but like, if I'm a video game developer, I want to produce my shooting game, my sci-fi, fantasy, RPG, whatever.
Right.
I'm writing with those in mind, what's on the market right now. Those are going to sound patently different? Is that the right word? I don't know if that's the right word. Those are going to sound drastically different than an animation reel, which, for an animation reel, I'm writing with, okay, Gravity Falls, Big City Greens, Adventure Time, Steven Universe, anime. I'm writing for those shows in mind. So stylistically, they're going to sound very different. Oftentimes, when we get to that question of, like, which reel do you want? A lot of times they're kind of like, well, I want kind of something in the middle. And oftentimes, luckily, because there's just a lot of crossover in media, you can kind of get away with, like, okay, we can do like a sci-fi spot that could be Rick and Morty or could be a video game. We can do an anime spot that could be an RPG or could be a TV show.
Yeah, because that's how I'm listening to a lot of demos and listening to a lot of video games, a lot of cartoons, and a lot of animation. A lot of the same level of character performance and a lot of the same voice actors are being used and almost doing the exact same voice for either three.
Yeah,
and I'm feeling like they're all being written in the same kind of professional, almost film style, where there's real characters, they have real believable dialogue, there's a real plot, and the only difference is the video game, you get to play the characters, and that really seems to be the difference.
And for the most part, that's true. I think a lot, especially video games and anime, are kind of going very cinematic. They want the acting to be pretty real. Anime, there's a bit of a style difference just because they're
a lot more screaming.
Well, it's not so much screaming. It's more just like each of the different anime studios, like in the US, they sort of develop their own style, and then whichever one was hot at the time, the other studio would copy that. Like how do I say this? Like in the early 2000s, Funimation was I shouldn't say this. Whatever. They had a specific style that was their own, but the style at the time that was popular was the 4Kid style, the New York anime voice acting, where it was bigger, a little bit more broad, very almost similar to the Japanese. And then sort of mid 2000s, the LA anime sound started to cut through, and it started to get a little bit more real and a little bit more defined. And then Funimation, late 2000s, that was their era. And now I would say the sound of anime is defined by what Funimation did in the late 2000s. I feel like anime fans, like if you guys are listening, you probably know what I'm talking about. Like
everyone has that anime,
right?
That one anime,
exactly. Like Last Exile and Cowboy Bebop sound drastically different than My Hero Academia. That's just because those studios have a directing style and a production style that reflected what they were doing, and since those were the big shows at the time, every other studio tried to copy that.
Right.
So yeah, there is a style difference. I would say even in Western cartoons, instead of doing cartoony voices, they're just casting celebrities now who have unique voices. Like for DuckTales, they're getting, Ben Schwartz and Bobby Moynihan from SNL, who have very unique voices.
David Tennant.
Right, exactly. But those are serious, like, trained actors. All the performances are grounded, even though they're a little wackier, I would say. So I tend to lean away from like the old like Hanna-Barbera type kind of voices.
Golly gee.
Yeah, when I hear those in demos, I always sort of go, this is a bit old. Like no one's doing this anymore. Even Looney Tunes, I would say, they're not doing it anymore. It's become a lot different. So
it feels like there's a little bit more honesty and a little bit more earnest in the performances.
Right.
Even when it's a cartoon, there's always that almost it's a little bit more subtle. It's not as over the top.
The style. The stylistic changes are subtle, but they're important. Like it's why I have a video game demo reel and an animation demo reel, because I'm showcasing different things and I'm marketing to different people. Like the casting director for a video game or the script writer for a video game is not the same as a script writer for an animated TV show. Scriptwriter for animated TV show, they went to school for animation or they went to school for screenwriting. Video games, oftentimes sometimes you'll get like professional screenwriters in there, but a lot of times you'll just get video game guys, programmers who are also writers and they're interested in characters. So whether or not you can hear it exactly, there is a slight difference in the intent and in what's being brought to the table. So you have to sort of write with that in mind.
What's your writing process? Do you have like a template that you use that kind of like you fill in the blank, almost like Mad Libs, or do you look at a blank screen and then just type as if you're actually typing out a full script, but you stop after like a few sentences? I look
at a blank script. There are demo producers out there who have the Mad Lib style of writing, and I don't like that. It's lazy because it's almost as if like, or sometimes demo producers will just be like, hey, we'll take this script from this game and then change it a little bit and then you'll record it. I think that's lazy, but beyond just being lazy, you have to write with that particular actor in mind, right? You're writing as if this role was made for this person, not this is a role they could maybe do, kind of, but it's been done by someone else.
It's not like them standing in for the other actor.
Exactly. And there are demos that I'll listen to where I'm like, that's Persona 5, that's Uncharted 4. Like, I know who played those characters, and regardless of the acting, it feels a little disingenuous, and I disengage oftentimes from listening to it. But yeah, I will take notes. When I meet with the actor, I will typically take notes, listen to what they've done before, or have sample scripts, and then from there go, okay, here are the characters we're going to write for you. And I try, and with all writers, especially, I encourage you, especially for demos, you have to write very, very specific. A lot of times I'll hear the generic, I'm sorry, I hurt you, but it won't happen again. And it's like, I don't know what show this is. I don't know what game this is. It's not, it's a line that I would hear in something, but there's not enough specificity for me to go, oh, I know what's going on. I know what kind of game this is. So like, it's a very specific style of writing. You can't just go in, write a script, or go into a script and take a snippet and go, here's a line. You have to write with 10 seconds in mind. I have to give a character and a scene in 10 seconds. So like, like I wrote a demo for a client that the character runs in. It's like, Captain, and sort of congratulates them on a speech they did before, and then it's like, all right, I'll rally the troops, and also don't die out there, okay? So I got across like what happened before, where the character's coming from, what they're trying to do right now, and then the character's relationship to this person.
Okay.
All in 10 seconds. So it's very, very specific writing. You can't just as a writer, you can't just copy paste. You can't just sort of like put in something that sounds cliche. You need details.
Oh,
because,
yes, that was one of the things I was going to say is, it being specific, yes, but don't be so specific. It's like, the sword of blah, 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 blah. I will defeat you. You're like...
Yeah, or the one thing I hate is demos that are like, oh no, the monster is running through the city. You can't see it, but I'm going to tell you what, oh boy, oh wee, look at that. It's like, don't tell me what's going on. Write action. So like the character is doing something. The story's being pushed forward in some way. So that's the kind of, my writing approach is, I will take notes, and then from there I will write out the script. Sometimes just because I have a high volume of demos I'm producing, I'll bring in another writer, but oftentimes I will heavily edit what they send me just because I'm very particular, and oftentimes it's not specific enough for what I want. But you have to get pretty specific. Like in 10 seconds, I should be, in less than 10 seconds, I should be able to go, oh, this is a fantasy JRPG. He is the captain of this, and they're about to go into their final battle. Like I should know all of that in 10 seconds from just audio.
Right. Because I mean, that's exactly, if they have no idea what this is supposed to be, then it's far more frustratingly useless. It's like this sounds great, but what am I listening to?
Yeah, well, the great thing about it is because there's no visuals, a casting director or a producer or whatever is going to listen to the demo, and they're going to imagine it how they want to imagine it. So so if you write with specificity, they'll go, oh, this could be in my game. Like I'm making a Space Odyssey type game, and he would be perfect for the captain character, because it's not just cliche lines or dialogue. It's, there's intent and there's specificity in your writing. It's the same. I tell the same thing to the actor. The more specific you get with your reads and what you're doing in a scene, the more it's going to come across to the audience that like there's something more there. You're not just doing like, here's my A take, here's my B take, here's my C take. It's like you can hear that there's investment in what's going on.
Right. So would you say there's a fine line between too much information or too specific and just incredibly vague, can't use this? Is there a fine line, or is there kind of like comfortable...
I would say there's sometimes someone can misconstrue what specificity means. Like it's not so much write out all these details of like, oh man, this name of robot, blah blah blah, like writing all these details. Like if you're writing as detail oriented in a literal sense, and you're just writing out everything, that's just bad writing. But in your mind, you should know, okay, this character is about this tall, has this hair color. They are running up. They're in the middle of a field. There are people training, and there's like tents set up, and they're sharpening swords and preparing for war. You should have all of that in your head, so that when you go into the scene and you write it, you make specific choices that the audience may not see or may not get, but they'll notice it. It's a small difference, and it's pretty I write very similar to how I act. It's the more details that you have in your head, but you don't necessarily show them, right? The better.
Right. I mean, also it's going to help when you have to put in the sound effects, if it's anything relevant to the character. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to pull up my current animation demo, and I'm going to present it to you. Like, let's say we've never met, and this is being presented to you, and you're reviewing someone that may or may not, want a demo. Yeah. So here we go.
Great. All right. I'm critiquing a demo live. Great.
Critiquing a demo live. Going to be better.
Will this professional relationship end? Tune in next time, which is right now.
The reason I want to do this is for other people.
Right.
So that other people, if their demos sound similar to mine, our feedback on my trash,
Yeah.
hopefully might help them.
And I'll sort of run through like what I typically listen for and just
Timothy
everyone's opinion is their own. I like to think mine's the best, but no. Come on down, get a demo produced with me. Or whatever. But yeah, let's do it.
Timothy Banfield character reel, 2018.
You're too late. It's already begun.
I don't care if it kills me. I will find her. Das ist gut, das ist bad. Who cares?
Oh my, I seem to have made a horrible error.
You want to live yourself a happy life? Find yourself a good woman. That's how. When all of a sudden, Soviet chickens came from outer space. I say, you take your hands off of me, peasant. This looks like a job for a hero, like me. Now, is someone pointing in the right direction? Sorry, pal. Can't come with me. Now where I'm going.
Oh my. What do we have here? Adventurers. I love adventurers. They're delicious.
This is your captain speaking. We're cruising at an altitude of 37 feet. We're gonna be landing in LA in 20 seconds.
Broden, you're not still going in there, are you? Of course I am, son. A dwarf never backs down from a fight.
Yeah, that was it.
Nice. Yeah, just off the bat, starting at the beginning with the slate. Typically, at least this is me. Everyone's kind of has differing opinions.
Right.
I'm not a slate guy. My thing is like, if they want to know, they'll ask, and also they can read the title of the demo.
Right.
They can find your name and your email and your contact info and all that.
Normally, the name is also in the MP3 title.
Right, the
too,
file
so.
name, exactly. So I tend to think a slate wastes time, and it's typically unnecessary. Right. So I typically do away with the slate. First spot I really like. A lot of people will say like, oh, you need to put like your natural voice first so they know what you sound like, and then go into the crazier stuff. I say put your strongest voice first.
Yeah.
If that's a crazy villain, if that's a young girl, whatever it is, strongest stuff first. The stuff that's going to catch their attention. Because oftentimes a director will listen to 5 seconds of your demo and then turn it off. And they'll know, they'll make a decision there. Me, I take less time. I do 1 second sometimes and I'll be like, nope, I know.
Is there, and you're like, no.
Yeah. Well, it'll be like, you step back and it's like, click. All right, I got it. Which is, unfortunate sometimes, but we go through hundreds of demos. Your demo is very much suited towards your skill set, which is great. You can do a wide range of character voices. So your approach was, okay, we're gonna do shorter scenes, but we're gonna show all these different voices, which is great.
Right. Which I think it was 8. I was trying to count them, and I don't remember how many it was. I think it was like 9 or 10, maybe more in there. And so each one was in between 6 and 8 seconds.
Yeah, which is pretty good. Which is pretty good. I typically write counter to that. Just because
you want more there, really play out the character.
Yeah, more to play out the character, but because of your skill set, if we were working on a demo, I would go, okay, we need to fit in more voices, so we're going to go shorter on the scenes. We're going to do some bigger, broader voices, and we're going to do that in the context of video games and animation, because there's a lot of cartoony type video games that need those bigger voices. So those are really good. I would say typically I want the scenes to be around the same length. There was one near the end that was longer. It was like 12 to 15 seconds long as opposed to the other ones. Right. It was like the deeper voice, I think, which I liked it. It was a great scene. But if you're going to do that, all of the other scenes need to be about the same length, so you get the same amount of time with each character.
Okay.
So, but
was that the Western one?
No, it wasn't the Western one. I think it was like a monster or a demon
voice or whatever.
Yeah. Also, I thought your last spot, the one at the very end of the demo, was really good. I would have moved that up closer to the beginning.
You were the fifth person to say that. You're like
really?
The fifth person to say that was like. A lot of people have said that was their favorite one in the entire thing because it sounded the least like me. which I don't know. I have no perception of my own.
To me, it was just my
voices.
favorite. It was just one of my favorite scenes because I could see what was going on. It was grounded. It sounded like something pulled out of a video game. And I always order strongest stuff first, and then after that, you sort of go into like rhythmically what makes sense. If you start off with high energy, go into something that's a little bit more low energy, or if you
Right.
start with a deep growling character, go to something a little bit more younger sounding.
Right.
Because it's all about kind of keeping the listener engaged. So there's a lot of like trickery and play you can do in terms of the ordering.
Right. Also, if the voices sound too similar, because it is one person doing the voices, you can only make them sound so different so far. You know, when you have a
Right.
deep voice, deep voice, deep voice, deep voice, they might sound similar to each other. and they're
Yeah,
like, oh,
like
this is just a one-trick pony.
Yeah, I mean, and my thing is like, if you can do a deep voice, I I can assume that you can make slight variations off of that and do. So if I just hear deep voice demon, deep voice ogre, deep voice guy, deep voice Russian guy, it's like I'll ask, like, show me your strongest deep voice character, and then I will ask about the others. Like, I
Right.
will assume that you are an actor and you can like make adjustments. So
Right.
like a lot of times people when they're producing their demos get caught up in like, I need to show everything I can do. It's like, no, you need to show the very, very best of what you can do, and just a little bit. It's basically your demo is your elevator pitch. You're not going to tell them everything about your product or
Right.
what you're trying to sell them. You're going to tell them the highlights, and you're going to tell them the things that are going to grab their
You need
attention.
that three
and make them,
sentence pitch. That
Exactly.
3-sentence pitch. Yeah.
yeah, the things that are going to make them ask, like, oh, this is great. Can you also do this, this, this? Which, right. And at that point, you've got them. That's the idea.
Right. So that kind of demo, would that be an animation, a game, a cartoon?
That one is geared towards, really, it's geared towards the kind of stuff you do. It's like YouTube animation and
Yeah.
then indie online video games. Like
Right.
I would place it in that arena, which would make it, which makes it kind of like just a character reel, I guess.
Yeah.
is what we would call it. Which again, I don't. If that's what someone's going for, I don't mind it. And it's like, even if you're going for like AAA video game or union animation project or whatever, it still works, right?
Right.
It may not be necessarily geared towards that specific show or genre, but it's enough for them to go, okay, like we can work with this, or we
We can give them a
at least-
shot.
Yeah, exactly. We can send
Yeah.
them an email. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And obviously, anyone who listened, if y'all made it past the first demo, y'all can literally see the 6 years of difference.
Right.
And that's with 4 sessions of coaching, lots of trial and error. That is lots of. I think there are 8 demos total between that one being the first one and this one being the 8th. So that is
Gotcha.
8 demos, all self-produced. No. I have one demo, the one before this one, which was produced by someone. Not really produced by someone. Let me correct that. We recorded at his studio, but I still edit it in my place because
Right.
he only did music. He didn't do voiceover, which I didn't find that out until I was there. And so when I found out, I was like, oh, he doesn't do voiceover, he just does music. I was like, I'll edit it on my side. Then I found out that his microphone was really, really noisy, and there was tons of echo in the space. So what I did is I actually I listened back to the performance because I liked the performance. Because I loved the feedback from someone behind the window, playing off his reaction. So I built off my performance, but I recorded it again in my closet, like all over again.
Yeah.
And so after that, I was like, I'm fine just doing them by myself unless I find someone that I really, really trust.
Yes. Which, by the way, is an important point to make. I hear lots of people, and it's funny who you hear it from. A lot of people will say, "Oh, you don't produce your own demo. You have to produce it with a professional." And oftentimes, the people who are saying that are the people who are selling demo services.
Yeah.
They're like, "No, you have to get it produced with me
Right.
because I'm going to charge you $2,000."
Yes.
Not true. If you know what you're doing and you can do it yourself, do it yourself. I always say, if you can do it yourself, do it yourself. Which is why I've steadfastly done all of my demos myself, because I'm like, I know what I'm doing. I can do it. And
Right.
I've gotten an agent. I've booked, projects off of my demo. Like, it's, there are a lot of misnomers and industry like rules that aren't really rules.
Right.
They're just, there's could be a million reasons why people are saying that.
Right, and one of them is, of course, because that person is selling,
Right, and they want to
doing
make
demo production.
Yes.
Same thing with, there's a lot of people that, say you have to go to LA, to be a voice actor, and those are, of course, all the voice actors that live in LA. No
Right.
New York voice actor is going to say that. You won't make it in the business until you move to one of the big cities, and it's always those people that say that. And I really feel like in the next 5 years, those may become irrelevant.
Well, it's going to be less of a problem. The more time has gone on, the less living in those places has become true. I was actually perfect example. I was on a panel with a bunch of different voice actors of all different ages. We had older actors who've been doing it for years, and the question that always comes up at these panels is like, can I do voice acting from where I live, Boise, Idaho, Gary, Indiana, wherever this person lives. Saskatoon. And most of the older guys will say, no, you have to be in these places if you want to do anime, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And my answer was, well, no, you can. I lived in Boise, Idaho for a year, and I had one of the most, productive years in voice acting.
Right.
It's, the where people are looking for voice actors and where games are being made and produced and all that is changing. I would say the only difference is how far you want to go in your career will depend on where you if you want to be in Disney animation, well, Disney is in LA, you have to be in LA.
And they audition in their studios.
Right, and they record you in their studios.
Right.
And even if you live far away and it's like, well, I can fly in, it's like, well, they won't go for that because scheduling can be they might be like, hey, we need you tomorrow or later today because of a last minute change. Can you come in? And if you're in Saskatoon, it's not going to work. So
you don't even have an airport there. I mean, you have a dust farmer, but it's not really.
But
an
I mean,
airport.
it's the business is changing in terms of what you can do from home rather than living in one of the meccas of entertainment.
Right.
But yeah, that's what I would say about that.
So you feel like more it's going to maybe the indie and the industry market are going to maybe bridge a gap a little bit more rather than one's going to just disappear?
One's not going to disappear. I think they're just going to exist separately. I mean, because for YouTube productions, you can have indie voice actors or online voice actors that you can just cast and then have them record on their own and send them in.
Right, because it's not SAG. There's no Screen Actors Guild. Right.
But if you're doing a YouTube Red series or you want to or whatever, you're gonna want to sort of invest in either a studio or make it a union project or just bring in different people like Bravest Warriors, for example. That's Cartoon Hangover. That's a YouTube. Right. That was a YouTube show, but those were union SAG actors and recording in a Burbank studio in LA. Right. So it's more just a matter of the accessibility to do it, to be a voice actor or to get your hands on the equipment or the audition opportunities. It's just everything's becoming more and more accessible. It's not necessarily changing the way the business is done, just who can throw their hat in the ring.
Right. It's not limited to location and credits anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be you lived in LA and you knew someone who knew someone.
Exactly. And also 20 years ago, you couldn't buy a microphone and make a home studio without it costing thousands of dollars. Right. Now, digital technology and recording technology has become so cheap and so easy that you can buy an $80 mic that is going to sound comparable to the $800 mic.
Right.
So, everything's just improving rapidly and becoming so much cheaper, and there's so more people are able to have a go at it.
Do you see yourself staying in LA through your entire life, or?
For now, yes. At least in terms of where my career is going, it's not just voice acting and stuff. There's on camera and other acting opportunities out here. It's where my career is. It's where some of my family and my friends are. It's home for me,
Right.
But I can never. I'm not one to make sweeping absolute statements.
Right.
Who
I will
knows?
never.
Yeah, I mean the idea is, ideally, like retiring as young as I can would be cool. If I, or at least to be able to like live.
Retiring as young as you can.
That's
Listen to this
honestly,
guy.
that's
Listen
the
to-
goal. I mean, like hit it big, and then invest wisely,
Uh-huh.
and then be able to live wherever I want and not have to worry about oh, can I afford this, or if I have a family. Like that's where I would like to be. So I may not necessarily be living in LA, but I like my job and I see myself working as long as I can. So, I'll at least be here for work.
Do you find that the cost of living in LA is worth the opportunities in LA?
Yes and no. I mean, it's the jobs out here pay higher because the cost of living is higher. So so it's not so much like, oh man, I'm gonna move out there and everything's gonna be so expensive. It's like, no, it's just things are worth differently out here just because of how
It's almost like a different country.
It almost is. I mean, like it really is. You kind of adapt to the lifestyle and the culture. But sorry, what was the question? Is it worth the money?
Is the cost of living in LA worth the opportunity?
Yeah. I mean, I would say everything's out here. Even the stuff in New York, like the stuff in New York is there just because it's been there forever. Like NBC and the telenovelas and all that, and some of the older voiceover projects and casting directors are there because they've been there forever. Right. LA, it's Hollywood, big blockbuster movies. All the studios are out here. So if this is what you really want to pursue and do it, you can be very, very successful out here. And yes, it's absolutely worth it. It's more a matter of, is this what you want? Are you prepared for what it's going to cost? And not just in terms of the actual money cost, but like the effort
and the grind.
The grind, right? Are you ready to put up with the rejection and the half answers, or the people who like to beat around the bush and not give you a straight answer? Are you prepared for all of that? If you are, great. Get out here. Put your talent to use, your God-given talent to use. Or if it's not, then what do you want to do with your life? But that gets more into like just
overall personal questions.
Right, personal questions, exactly.
yeah, where that person is in their personal life.
Right.
Okay, let's close this. I think we covered this last time, but I don't remember what it was. What is your 5-year goal?
5-year goal? Well, let's see. After 5 years, I'd like to get to a place where I'm not auditioning as much. I am just being either offered work, or I have consistent work, either series work or like
royalties.
Well, not so much royalties, at least just like directors who are like, hey, we want to bring you in for this project, not, hey, will you audition for this project?
Oh, okay.
I'd like to be there. I'm interested in an on-camera career. I'd like to see that going somewhere. I'm already union eligible, but I think at least in the next 5 years, I'd like to be a part of the union. Okay. Just I'd like to see the union improve.
Right.
But I'd like to be there. I don't know, a certain level of consistency, I would say. Living on my own, owning a car, possibly. I don't know. I mean, possibly owning like a house would be nice. A lot
owning
of my
your own studio.
No,
probably not in 5 years. That's probably pushing it.
Well,
you're going to be ambitious, but that might be way too ambitious.
Well, my studio goals are like this. I'm different. Like the smaller, the better. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm gonna make a studio, whatever it is, at a certain point, it's either it's going to be small, so like I can just work on the projects I want to work on,
Right.
or it gets big enough to where I can just sell it and it's someone else's problem.
Right.
You know, and because like I really don't want to be a CEO of a huge company or an owner of a huge company and not know everything that's going on. Like
Right.
that's where a lot of the problems happen, where people can get sneaky and things can get corrupt,
backstabby, and
exactly. Yeah, I like the simple life, which is weird to say as someone living in LA. So the more simple I can keep things, you know, having a consistent career, you know, living in a nice neighborhood, like the personal goals are a little bit more important than like I want to be in this show or have these credits, you know.
Right.
Like those will come, right? You know, as long as I'm working, you know, that's what's important to me.
Okay. Good. You know, not as I want to be in this particular TV show or this particular movie, you know, within 5 years. It's more like broad, you know, life security goals.
Sure.
You know.
I mean, not that I don't have those things like, oh, I would love to be in this
Those
show.
are dreams.
These
Those
people.
are dreams.
Right. Those things drive me as well. But the focus is, especially with when I like to set goals, is like, you know, practically, like what are the things that you want, you know, and I think working consistently to where I get called in for work rather than audition for things, that's a practical thing that I can set in stone. Whether or not I have worked on a Marvel like project or a DC or Warner Brothers or whatever, you know, those will happen and fall where they may. It's more just what are the practical things that I want out of that. Yeah.
Right. I don't remember. I don't know if anyone has said this before, but it probably has been. I mean, nothing is new under the sun. But your career is the car driving on the street that is the goal, and your dreams are the fuel that fuel the car.
Yeah.
That is kind of like, that's one of the ways that I see it. The dreams are the things that motivate you. You know, that you want to achieve this. They're a little too specific often. Like I wanted to be in one of the Narnia films when I was a kid. When I first saw them. That was one of the goals. Well, one of the dreams, not one of the goals, but one of the dreams. I was like, oh, I want to be in a Narnia film. I don't know why very specifically that cinematic
no, but
universe.
I mean, but oftentimes our dreams are very specific. Like there's like a character I go, I want to play Sonic the Hedgehog at some point. Like that's
I think you could.
I know I could. I mean, not to be too self-confident, but it's the character anyway. But no, like that's a very specific dream, and who knows if it's gonna happen. But I mean, it's part of what motivated me to be an actor in the first place. These characters and these specific moments in time that became dreams and then motivated us to make it a reality. You know, having dreams that go beyond reality and into fantasy, like having those things are important. Grounding them is also important. Being able to go like, okay, what do I need to do to make that happen? Right. But yeah, dreaming. Yeah, it's okay to dream, kids.
Yeah, one of my dreams. I don't know if it's ever gonna happen. One of my dreams is to do the Thing from Fantastic Four, just because. That or Wolverine, just because I know that's never a role that I would ever be cast physically.
Right.
I would never get that physically. But it is. Voiceover is the venue in which I could play that character despite having none of the physical characteristics.
Right.
And it's just one of those things. I did get to do one Marvel project. One. It was. I think it was. I did Deadpool's voice for like a card game.
Wow.
Deadpool versus the World.
Cool.
And so they contacted me. They were like, "Hey, can you do a Ryan Reynolds?" I was like, "I don't do a Ryan Reynolds." And I was like, "I can do something North. What's his name?
Nolan North.
Nolan North." I was like, "I can kind of do that version, but I don't really want to do an impression of his." So I'm like just kind of taking like some of the familiarities, and I sent him there like, "Oh, that's great," and they signed me to it, and I was like, "Cool." So I did get to do that. So even though I have a dream to do Thing, I still, you know, achieve something that's like a little bit off of it that I never would have expected to be able to do. That's still really, really fun. And that if I wasn't pursuing this, I never would have had that opportunity to do it.
Right.
So yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead and plug all of your social media before we call this a day, because I want to make sure that everyone can find you. So go ahead. Where can people find you? Where's the best places that people find you?
Right. Well, you
not
can find
at
me
your
on...
house, not at your back door.
Yeah, my address is my Twitter handle is Griff Voices, GRIFF Voices. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me Instagram at the same handle, IMDb, YouTube. I do some singing and some stuff on YouTube. I've got a very unique name. You're not going to find another Griffin Puatu out there. So
and it's all the same, basically the same handle, all the different platforms.
Yes.
Okay, so they just Google it.
Yes, my branding is all what's the word? I don't know. We're not gonna get into fucking. I hate that shit. We're not gonna get into a whole conversation, but the whole like, what are you doing what is your branding as an actor? I have sat in so many coffee shops in LA, listening to the people right next to me at the other table who are talking about their social media branding and their campaign. It's like, just be talented and be available. Like, it's not that hard. Like,
be talented and leave everyone alone.
Yeah, like, be friendly. It's not, you don't need this whole whatever. But anyway, yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for having me.
We'll talk about that one next time. We'll let you rant on that. It's like it'll just be that, a 30-minute rant of just that.
Likely, yeah.
But yeah, thanks for doing this. This was a lot of fun. I hope anyone who watched this learned something. Ask some questions down below. Next time we have Griffin here, we will go through that whole list of questions. And till next time, Lee, peace. Thanks again.
Right. Thank you.